So hey guys, I just wanted to talk about the A7IV, which is just already released, and why I think the A7S3 is still the best camera for video. And yeah, gonna break out some of the specs that probably one of the best thing to why A7IV is better. One is 33 megapixel. It has separate photo and video mode. And yeah, I think it's great for shooting hybrid if you're mostly doing photos. I think it's really upgrade from A7 III and A7S. And yeah, A7S is mostly focused on video, so it's that. Let's talk about the negative actually. And it can shoot 4K up to 60 frames per second, and on a super 35 mode, which is a crop mode on like a APS-C mode. If you're shooting on the 24mm, it equal to right around 36mm on the crop sensor mode. So there's that. So that's the thing. And other negative thing is up to 10-bit. So that is great advantage if you're shooting video as well. Mostly rolling shutter is still pretty bad on the A7IV, and pretty good handled on the Sony A7S3, which is, yeah, it is really makes sense to get a Sony A7S3 if you're mostly shooting videos, if you're just like me. And you, for the most part, I can get away with 12 megapixel because I've been just actually mostly posting Instagram photos as well anyway. So I still do have the A7III for my some of the wedding work that I do, so I do have that as a backup. Yeah, there's some cool features that makes the A7IV better, like the tone mapping and focus reading mostly was actually improved on the A7IV. So hopefully in the future we could get that firmware update on the Sony A7S3 as well. So we could have that feature as well. The exposure compensation dial can set it up to ISO shutter speed, I think, and that's pretty cool features. And yeah, my ace so the exposure compensation on the A7S3 that I'm using is, I'm not touching those actually, it's just always sub dial. And yeah, hopefully I could also change that dial to whatever I wanted to, like for example the ISO. Hopefully Sony will give that away for us. So last couple of months, I think last month, I just bought the A7S3. I'm pretty happy because I think the A7S3 is still the better camera, even though A7IV is makes sense to get it if just a B camera, mostly be like if you're like me shooting weddings, set up multiple cameras, and the ceremony I have at least 2 cameras running around while I'm also filming handheld or on modified. So just to make sure I get better coverage on filming weddings, on the ceremony, on the speeches as well. I've been these running 2 cameras on a tripod, so that's just my style. I do try to deliver ceremony and speeches highlight, yeah, depending on what package they actually bought. So that's just the way I do it, and I still prefer that because like to have those multi-camera edited before I actually put up a highlight film. For the most part, color probably is pretty much the same. A7 IV has a flip out screen like the Sony A7S III. That's pretty cool. Yeah, pretty much the same body heat sinks technology, whatever you call it. I think yeah. Overall, I'm still stoked that I get the A7S III rather than waiting, because my A7S III actually went out for sale. It's 5,800 here in New Zealand, and the currently released A7IV is SRP was 4,800, so $1,000 is New Zealand dollar is, yeah, I think it's still worth to get the A7S III, because you get 10, so you get the 4K 60p, 4K 120, and yeah, for the video codecs, I think pretty much the same. With the A7IV, you only get up to 60 frames per second on a crop mode, so there's that. And yeah, would I buy the A7IV? So if I'm upgrading from the A7 III, I would probably definitely consider upgrading to the A7IV. But as a video shooter, I won't buy the A7IV, because I tend to, my work is mostly videos, and I tend to move my camera faster, so I don't like the rolling shutter. And yeah, the 4K 60 50 frames per second is important to me, in the sense that I shoot weddings, so I like to emphasize the emotions, the reaction shots. So I would still buy the A7 III regardless of the A7IV. So if I'm coming from the photography side from the A7 III, I would definitely upgrade to the A7IV. So that's just me. In the future, as a big camera, I would still consider the A7IV as my big camera on like another angle. So anyway, if you find this video helpful, yeah, please consider subscribing, and I'll talk to you on the next one. Cheers, guys.